Hello everyone, welcome to my channel today. I'm Tara with Pieces of Tara Artistry. Thank you for joining me. So you're probably wondering from that intro, what am I doing? And I was asking myself that same question about halfway through this process. But what I am doing today is I am using the polymer clay as the texture in an art piece. So with this one, I use this Sculpey Primo, which in hindsight, I should have used the Fimo Soft, which is what I used in my test piece, but I forgot that that's what I used because it was quite a while in between my test piece and this piece. So I would have used the Fimo Soft instead, but this is what I realized after I had baked it, it wasn't the same. Anyways, it's fine. I took it all apart and you see I had this machine. It's called a pasta machine, and I found it in the clay, like the polymer clay area of Michael's, and I believe it was like $30 for this. Now, I just picked it up there. You could probably get it cheaper somewhere else. I don't know. But I just saw it there and I grabbed it. Now, this has a clamp also that will clamp to my table, which I realized after I started this video that it's so much easier to clamp it, but I wanted you to be able to see the process. So I stuck it in just out of the wrapper in there, and I was using this. Basically what it does is it conditions, or it makes the clay more workable, because when it's in that clump in the package, it kind of hardens. It's kind of harder, and if you you can see when I was pulling it apart, it kind of gets crumbly. So you basically put it through this pasta machine to soften it, to make it more workable. And so it took kind of a while for me to figure that out. You'll see my little Finny is on my table now because it was the 4th of July week, and people were lighting off fireworks, and he was scared to death and shaking, and so I put him up on the table with me. It seems to kind of calm him down a little bit, but you'll see him around here as I'm doing this piece. So basically I kind of got tired of putting it through the machine and it crumbling, so I read that if you roll it out a little bit before you put it in the machine, it kind of conditions it so that it's easier to put into the pasta machine. Now, this did work much better, and I'm so glad I just Googled it and figured that out, because this piece really was just a real lesson for me, because I had never really done anything like this. I did kind of a test piece, but it was very small, and I thought it was going to be a lot easier and go a lot faster than it actually did. But now that I know some tips and tricks, it will go faster next time. And next time I am going to start with a smaller piece. This was a big piece. It was a 20 by 20 piece that I had poured on, and I had sitting around my studio, and I just wanted to finish it off. And so you guys have seen the piece that I poured on many times in previous videos. So once we get to the point where I show you that, I will put a in the description box and above where you can see the pouring of that one. So you can see what I did is I put it through the machine a few times. I bent it. It is no longer It's no longer breaking when I fold it. So now I'm putting it through to get the desired thickness that I want. And a little Finny there, he's curious, but in the way. But anyway, so I got the desired thickness, and I had bought this little punch at like on Amazon or something, thinking it was going to be easier because I was basically going to be cutting out a bunch of small pieces and rolling them into a ball. Well, that didn't work. It all stuck inside this thing, and I realized quickly that wasn't going to work. Later on, I realized after looking at some other people's Instagrams, I noticed that they were dusting their clay with like a cornstarch. So next time I'll probably do that. Same with this. This actually is a little punch that I got, I think at Michael's. It came with like 3 or 4, and it actually worked fine because it will actually press the little button and it punches it out. Now, this process took hours and hours and hours of punching out each individual piece. My fingers started to hurt. That's why I say if you want to try this, definitely start smaller, because I went through 2 bricks, you guys, of the, I think it's up 1 pound each of these Fimo Sculpties in creating this project. So not only did I have to condition all of the clay, but I also had to punch out each piece and then roll each piece into a ball. So basically that was the whole reason, just get it all into these balls. So there's the poured piece. I'll link above where you can see me pouring one like that. And I had marked on there with chalk where I want my design to be. And then I taped together some parchment paper that now I am going to use to put the lay each piece down. So I used a white chalk marker, and once I pulled it off that black, I couldn't see it, so I had to go over it again. I had a purple one laying around, so I just used it and went over it. So here is all of the balls that I had created in one little sitting, which took me probably about, I'm gonna say 2 to 3 hours for this amount of balls. And I thought at the time, this might work, this might be enough. Boy, was I very wrong. I don't even know how many balls I rolled, but I think I probably have like 12 to 15 hours worth of punching out clay and rolling into balls on this piece. So, and I learned a lot. Well, number 1, should have started smaller. Oh, and okay, so this is my tool. It's a dotting tool. It's a clay tool. I think you can use it for dotting art, but it's a ball end clay tool. And this is what I'm going to use. You can see I kind of started it and scratched off what I had because my clay was kind of cracking. So what I do is I place the ball down, press in the center, and roll off the edge to create kind of like a scalloped look. So I will get closer here in a minute and show you exactly what I'm doing. And so that you guys can see like the closer process. But it's sort of what I do with the when I do the scales. I kind of overlap them the same way, and I just am creating the scale. I actually found a girl who does jewelry. She does polymer clay jewelry. And she's on Instagram, and I can't remember what her name is right now, but I will put it here and in the description box. She makes this awesome jewelry, and That's where I got the inspiration for this, to do it as art. She makes jewelry out of stuff like this, but I thought this would be a really cool art piece. So, showing you very slowly here, actually just in real time, how this goes. It was a slower process, especially to start, because I wasn't quite in the groove yet, and I wasn't exactly sure how it was all gonna go, but I was learning a lot from this right away, especially learning that I rolled these balls like a day or two in advance, and as it kind of sets up, it doesn't dry, so the polymer clay will not dry without baking it. So it wasn't drying, and they were just mildly sticking together. It's not like they were like really stuck together. They were just kind of together in these clumps, but they had kind of cooled, and as they cool and you press in on them, it's easier for them to crack. So I'll kind of show you the difference here of what happens when it is cooler and it's sort of cracking more versus what I ended up doing to kind of rectify that. So I'll be back in a second to share that. Okay, so here you see I put the ball down, I kind of overlap it over these others, and I pull down. You can see as I pull down, it's kind of cracking more. You can look at the other ones. You see a little bit of cracking there. But again, you push down, push in, and then roll down. So push it in, roll it down. So I am going to show you a very speeded up version of this to start with. You can kind of see how it's starting to look, how I'm laying it out. I had to kind of put it in the corner because as you work this, you kind of have to move it as it curves and bends. So just like when I do my scales, I have to kind of work the edges and come together in the middle. So I will go ahead here soon and I'm going to turn. So you see what I'm doing there? I'm adding a bunch to my hand and going from there. You see I have that round ball in my hand, and what that does is that warms up the clay a bit, so it makes it a little bit easier to work with, so that when I do lay them down, the clay is it's softer and it's so much easier to work with. I don't get the cracking, and you'll see that here. I will do another close-up. You see I'm going to press in and pull down. That one on the end I kind of did wonky, but these ones will go nicer. You see that little ball of clay on the right side there? What I use that for is the clay, as you're pushing in and pulling down, sometimes you'll grab it off like that and you need to clean off your tool. And so what I did is I just would use another piece of clay and roll it on that extra piece of clay, and that will clean off your ball end so that it doesn't stick to these other pieces as you go. So this is the process. I think I rolled about, 35,000 balls. Not really, but it felt like it. And so instead of making you watch any more of it, I did keep going on it, and you guys get the picture now of what I did. So this is just kind of a progress picture, and here's some more balls, and I had to do a whole nother bunch of balls after those were done because I didn't have enough. So here we go again. This is kind of a different view, kind of like this view better. And you can see me wiping off my tool in between when you see that it gets a little bit gunky. So you'll see there's kind of got a little bit of gunk on there, and that's when I see that is when if it doesn't come off on the next ball, I will definitely go and wipe off that the end of that ball so that the work is consistent. See, there we go. I just rub it across and it takes that off. And then I continue on. So here I had placed a bunch in a row so that it kind of would go a little bit faster. As I was going and placing these 35,000 balls down, I started to learn what worked and what didn't, and what would go faster and what did not. And I found that I would kind of warm these up in my hand, lay a bunch of them down, and then roll them out so that, so it'll go a little bit faster. Anyway, so that's the process, guys. Now, for our next steps, you're gonna leave that clay on the parchment paper. You're gonna place ceramic tiles down in the middle of your oven and to the necessary size of your piece. You're gonna preheat the oven to 275 and you're gonna bake in the oven for 15 minutes per 1/4 inch. That is the specifications for Sculpey 3. Other clays have different specifications, but that is what Sculpey 2's website says. I don't know if I did that. I can't remember. Seems to me I baked it for 35 minutes, but I'm not sure. So you'll see it's in 2 pieces because as I was placing it in the oven, it broke in half. And so instead of working it back together, I just thought I would bake it that way and then place it together afterwards. So after baking it, I now am using just a regular gel gloss by Golden as my glue. So I'm placing it down and making sure that it's all where it's supposed to be. And then I am going to take the other piece and do the same. Had it all stayed together, I just would have done this all together, and it would have just been one piece. But I was able to work it to where it still looked natural and didn't look like it had busted in half. So I just thought that I'm just gonna do that. I think at this point I had so many hours into it, I was like, I just can't anymore. So here we go. I'm just gonna place it down, and you can kind of see some white poking through where there was just air holes, and so that's where there was kind of some goopy situations happening with that gel gloss. So I just took my my little paintbrush there, and I'm just kind of wiping it a little bit so there weren't like bigger glops in there. So that's what you see me doing. So I was just kind of look at it, see, make sure it looks good, and everything was glued down. And here we go. This is the final piece. And I did spray varnish it with a semi-gloss varnish from Golden. And now, maybe somebody can tell me why in the comments below, but it's sticky now. So I don't know if you're not supposed to use that on polymer clay, but maybe someone out there can let me know. This is the final piece. Please let me know what you think. Please like, share, subscribe, and give me a comment. Thank you all for being here today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, y'all.